Hello students, in the previous class we have learned about the preparation properties and structure of the hydrazine and hydroxylamine. In this video now we are going to learn about the new category of compounds, that is the phosphagenes or phosphonitrile chlorides. So first of all we would learn which compounds are known as phosphagenes or phosphonitrile chlorides. So the compounds which have PnCl2 units in them are called as the phosphagenes. That means here phosphagenes are polymers and they contain PnCl2 taken n number of units. Here n may get value after 3. So that means n may be 3, n may be 4 or n may be infinity. So like that n may get any value. So phosphagenes are the polymers that contain PnCl2 units are known as the phosphagenes. So the empirical formula of the phosphagenes is PnCl2 taken n. So now here we go for some examples related to the phosphagenes. Now look here, PnCl2 taken 3 is one phosphagene. Now it is a trimer. This is known as the triphosphonitrile chloride. Triphosphonitrile chloride. And here we have to remember that the electronegativity of nitrogen, as well as chlorine is the same. That is 3. Electronegativity of the, I write once again, electronegativity of nitrogen as well as the phosphorus is 3. Same. Chlorine. Nitrogen and chlorine have the same electronegativity, 3 and 3. So we can call these phosphonitrile chlorides as phosphochloronitrates also. Phosphochloronitrides. Phosphochloronitrides. So like that also we can say. So we can so for the phosphagenes 3 names are there: phosphagenes, phosphonitrile chlorides and phosphochloronitrates. So either way we can call them. Now the next example for the phosphagenes is a tetramer. That is the PnCl2 taken 4. This is known as the tetraphosphonitrile chloride. So like that we can write the pentamer, hexamer, heptamer and a polymer. Okay, if the number is n, then we call it as the polyphosphonitrile chloride. So like that we have the different compounds. Now we discuss about the preparation methods of the phosphagenes. Here we are going to study the 3 preparation methods. First of all, we go for the first method. That is the by using phosphorus pentachloride and ammonium chloride. So in this method, phosphorus pentachloride is heated with the excess of ammonium chloride at 150 degrees centigrade. Here the temperature is not written, so I write now that is 150 degrees centigrade. So here we get a mixture of polymers and HCl. You know very well that HCl is vapor, so that goes outside. And here this mixture mainly contains trimer and tetramer. That is the PnCl2 taken 3 and PnCl2 taken 4. Mainly these 2 compounds are present. And later on this method is improved by conducting this reaction in the presence of inert solvents like carbon tetrachloride we know the formula of the carbon tetrachloride. It is an inorganic solvent. Sorry, inert solvent. It is an inert solvent. And we may use some other organic solvents also. Here one more solvent is given, that is sim tetrachloroethanol. Sim tetrachloroethane. So either we can use carbon tetrachloride or sim tetrachloroethane. Like that, we may use the different inert solvents. So when this reaction is conducted in the presence of the inert solvents, the yield of the higher polymers increase. That means we may get pentamer, hexamer, heptamer, like that. We may get different types of the higher polymers. Now here we discuss the mechanism. So when we heat phosphorus pentachloride with ammonium chloride, first of all we get a salt, ammonium ion, and PCl6 minus ion. So here ammonium ion is the cation and PCl minus 6 ion is the anion, hexachlorophosphate ion. And later on this intermediate loses three HCl molecules, and we get this NHPCl3 compound. Later on this one loses HCl again, and we get the polymers, PnCl2 polymers. So these are the different three steps that are involved in the formation of the PnCl2. So in each step HCl molecules are removed off gradually, okay, and only N retains in the mixture. All hydrogens are removed in the form of the HCl. All hydrogens are removed in the form of the HCl. In the first step we get this salt. In the second step and in the third step HCl molecules are removed. That point we have to remember. In the second step 3 HCl, and in the fourth step the remaining HCl molecule is removed. Here we should not write this one. So like that we can easily write these equations. Here in this method actually we get a liquid mixture of different polymers. We don't get a single product. Actually we get mixture of the polymers, and from that liquid mixture of polymers excess of ammonium chloride is crystallized and is removed in the form of the residue, and the remaining filtrate contains trimer, like this, tetramer and pentamer, hexamer. So like that it contains different compounds, PnCl2 taken 3, trimer, tetramer, pentamer and hexamer. And when this filtrate is concentrated under a reduced pressure and extracted from the petroleum ether, we get two parts. First one is the soluble part and the second one is the insoluble part. So first of all we have to concentrate the filtrate by evaporating the solvents, and after that we have to add petroleum ether. Whenever petroleum is added, some portion of the mixture dissolves in that one, and some portion of that one does not dissolve in that petroleum ether. And here we have to know that the soluble part, that means the dissolved part, mainly contains the cyclic polymers. Cyclic polymers dissolve in those in that petroleum ether, and linear polymers, that means here you have to know that these phosphogens may exist as the cyclic polymers or they may exist as the linear polymers, as we have learned in the silicones, okay na? So here cyclic polymers dissolve in the petroleum ether, whereas the linear polymers do not dissolve in the petroleum ether. then the soluble part is taken out and that is distilled. The soluble part mainly contains a trimer and tetramer, PnCl to take in 3 and PnCl to take in 4. So trimer PnCl2 take in 3, tetramer PnCl2 take in 4. So it contains, the soluble part mainly contains trimer and tetramer. Here the melting and boiling points of these trimer and tetramer are different. Melting point of the trimer is 150 degrees centigrade and melting point of the tetramer is 120 degrees centigrade, and the boiling point boiling point of tetramer is 124 degrees and the boiling point of the tetramer is 185 degrees at the 10 mmHg. So as the slight difference is there in the boiling points, they can be separated by the distillation method. Distillation method conducted at 10 mmHg. And so like this trimer and tetramer are separated by using the distillation method, and other higher polymers are separated either by using sublimation, solvent extraction and crystallization methods. So as it is a complicated method, all these are not discussed here. So we would remember one point, that the trimer and tetramer from the soluble part are separated by using the distillation method, and the higher polymers are separated by using the methods sublimation, solvent extraction and crystallization methods. Now we go for the second method, that is by using the tetrasulfur tetranitrides. The formula of the tetrasulfur tetranitride is S4N4. We call it as tetrasulfur tetranitride. So here this tetrasulfur tetranitride reacts with the phosphorus trichloride in the presence of thionyl chloride SOCl2, thionyl chloride SOCl2, thionyl chloride, thionyl chloride. Thionyl chloride, okay na? And this reaction is very easy to balance. So first of all we would remember the product, that is PnCl2 take in 3, PnCl2 take in 3, and here we have the 3 number, and in tetrasulfur tetranitride we have the 4 as the subscript of the nitrogen. So in order to balance the number of nitrogen atoms, what we have to do means simply exchange those numbers. So we have to take this 3 and write here, and we have to take this 4 and we have to write here. So the number of nitrogen atoms becomes 12 on the both the sides. The remaining things will be balanced very easily. And in this product side we are having 12 phosphorus atoms. So here we have to write the 12 PCl3. So like that we can easily balance this reaction. Next method is that by heating the triphosphorus pentanitride P3N5 in the presence of the chlorine at 700 degrees centigrade. This is not so useful method, but anyhow for the sake of interest we are discussing. So here when this is done, we get the mixture of the compounds, mixture of polymers along with the other unwanted products also, okay. So that's why, but it is not so useful. Now we go for the properties. First of all we discuss about the physical properties. the melting point of the trimer is 150 degrees centigrade, and the melting point of the tetramer is, these are melting points, yeah, melting points. And so pentamer is 41 degrees centigrade, hexamer melting point is 9 degrees, heptamer melting point is a minus 18 degrees centigrade. So by this we can say that as the chain length increases, the melting points are decreasing. So that is very interesting point here we have to remember. Okay, as the chain length increases, melting points are gradually decreasing. Now this is so because as the chain length increases, zigzag nature increases. As a result, a lot of disturbance occurs among the molecules. As a result, the oscillations increase. As a result, they convert into the liquid. So that is very important. And here, trimer is readily soluble in organic solvents like benzene, ether, and carbon tetrachloride, whereas the tetramer is less soluble than the trimer in these solvents. So trimer is highly soluble than the tetramer. On heating about 300 degrees centigrade, all the phosphonitrile chlorides are converted to an elastic rubber-like polymer. So all the polymers, phosphogens, on heating changes into the a material which looks like a rubber. Okay, na? We know very well that rubber is an elastic substance. No, in the similar way, here also phosphogens form a elastic substance. But such elastic product, look here, such elastic product is made up of long spiral zigzag chains. Here we can see them here. So we can see the zigzag chains. So zigzag. So this elastic material is made up of such zigzag chains. Okay, but unfortunately what happens means this elastic material does not retain that elastic property for a long time. This is only temporary property, and under suitable conditions only that becomes that retains its elasticity. So whenever this elastomer is exposed to the damp air means air that contains somewhat water in it is known as the damp air. So when it is exposed to the damp air, what happens? This phosphogens gradually change into the Horner solids. That means they become rigid. So they lose the elastic property, and we can't use them properly. In the similar way, natural rubber also changes into the hard material in the winter season, and it becomes soft and sticky in the summer season. Sticky in the summer season, hard in the winter season. You know very well that when the temperature decreases, the movement of the molecule decreases and they become rigid. So as a result, in the winter they become hard. So here phosphogens have the properties which are similar to the natural rubber, and the properties of the natural rubber are improved by a method known as the vulcanization that we know very well. Okay, so here the phosphogens on heating at 350 degrees centigrade, what happens? Depolymerization is also occurring above the 350 degrees centigrade. So we have to remember one point, that these phosphogens are stable under suitable conditions only. They are stable under suitable conditions, and their stability is temporary only. That we have to remember. Again, on heating at about the 500 degrees centigrade, further polymerization takes place, and this phosphorus change into the black substance of unknown nature. So the nature and the structure of that black substance is not known till now. Now we go for the chemical properties. Here, the general formula of the phosphogens is PnCl2 taken N, no? Taken N. Here instead of 3, we may write N also. So, here chlorine will be substituted with other groups like hydroxy groups, amine groups, what later on, what is the primary amine, secondary amine, hydrazine, alkoxide group. So this chloride may be removed, substituted, not removed, substituted by various different nucleophiles like hydroxide ion, amine, amide ion, and primary amine ion. Like the different nucleophiles may replace this chloride ion. So we can say that these phosphogens undergo nucleophilic substitution reactions like the alkyl halides. Here, generally we can represent the compounds that react with the phosphogens as HY. Like this we can represent. In the place of Y, we can write either hydroxy group or amine group or primary amine or secondary amine or hydrazine or alkoxide group. So like that we can write. Now hydrolysis. Here this trimer is slowly attacked by the water than the tetramer, and the partial or complete hydrolysis is achieved by the use of the aqueous ether. That means you have to use the mixture of water and ether. So complete hydrolysis is achieved by the use of the aqueous ether. So when it is treated with water, the chloride ions are removed, substituted by the hydroxide ions. Look here, chloride ions are substituted with the hydroxide ions. But this product is temporarily stable, and soon it undergoes isomerization and we get this compound. Here in this compound each phosphorus is attached to the 2 hydroxy groups. So here in this compound, in the intermediate product, we are having the 6 hydroxy groups, whereas here each phosphorus is attached to the 1 oxygen atom with double bond and with another hydroxy group along with the 2 nitrogen atoms. So this point we would remember. So first of all chlorines are substituted with the hydroxy group. Then after isomerization takes place. That we have to remember. The similar type of the reaction takes place with the tetramer also. Tetramer is rapidly hydrolyzed with the boiling water. Polymerization occurs very rapidly with the boiling water. So the same thing happens here also. First of all, chlorines are substituted, replaced by the hydroxide ions. Then after that compound undergoes isomerization and we get another compound, isomer of that intermediate product. Now we go for the reaction with ammonia. So when this phosphorus trichloride tetrachloride is treated with ammonia, chlorines are substituted with amine NH2 groups. So in the place of 6 chlorine atoms, 6 amines are substituted. Soon after, what happens, that intermediate product undergoes isomerization and we get a compound which is known as the phosphum. In phosphum, there is a double bond between phosphorus and 1 nitrogen atom. That we have to remember. And in phosphum, each phosphorus is surrounded by the 4 nitrogen atoms. 3 nitrogen atoms form single bonds and 1 nitrogen atom form 1 double bond. In the similar way, reaction with amine. So here for amines we are taking here aniline, pH NH2. You know the structure of aniline. So this is aniline, and this phenyl group is simply represented as pH NH2. So aniline is simply written as the pH NH2. So when it is when the trimers or tetramer are treated with the anilines, chlorines are replaced with the primary amines, aniline group. So that we can easily write the reaction, but for this one there is no choice to undergo isomerization. So here we get only one product. There is no possibility for the isomerization. So isomerization possible with the products formed in the hydrolysis and formed in the ammonolysis, but here what is the isomerization is not possible. In the similar way, these phosphagens react with the secondary amines also. Here for the secondary amines we are taking dimethylamine as the example. So all chlorines are substituted with the secondary amine and we get the substituted product. In the similar way, this phosphagens react with the Grignard reagents. Here example for the Grignard reagent, here we are taking the phenyl magnesium bromide. So this is one example for the Grignard reagent. So when this is treated with the phenyl magnesium bromide, chlorine is substituted with the phenyl groups, that means benzene ring. So we can substitute benzene rings also in the phosphagens in the place of the chlorines by using the phenyl magnesium bromide. Next one, reaction with benzene. So we know very well that benzene undergoes the electrophilic substitution reactions, and chlorine is a nucleophile. So that means here phosphagens undergo nucleophilic substitution and benzene undergoes electrophilic substitution. Look here. Phosphagens undergo nucleophilic substitution and benzene undergo electrophilic substitution. So here the electrophilic substitution of the benzene is known as the Friedel-Crafts reaction, Friedel-Crafts alkylation, no? And we know very well that Friedel-Crafts alkylation reactions take place in the presence of the Lewis acids. For example, aluminium chloride is a Lewis acid. So in the presence of Lewis acid, Friedel-Crafts alkylation takes place. So in the similar way, here also the same type of reaction occurs, and all chlorines are substituted with the benzene rings. So this is very much similar to the previous reaction, that is reaction with phenyl magnesium bromide. So this phosphagens form the same product with the phenyl magnesium bromide as well as with the benzene, but here we have to use the aluminum chloride whenever we use the benzene. That is the difference, but the same product is obtained in the both the cases. Now reaction with the potassium thiocyanate. Here we know very well that Cn minus is known as the cyanide ion, CNO is known as the cyanate ion, cyanate, and we know where that sulfur is known as the thio. So CNS is known as the thiocyanate, CNS is known as the thiocyanate, and we know very well that cyanide ion, cyanate ion and thiocyanate ions are pseudo halides. So when this trimers and these phosphagens are treated with the potassium thiocyanate, this is very much similar to the halide. So that's why these are known as pseudo halides. As a result, what happens? Chlorides are substituted with the thiocyanate anions. So that we have to remember, and this reaction can be easily written because it is just simply the replacement of the chloride ions. Okay, so we can easily write this reaction. Next, reaction with lead fluoride. So when phosphagens are treated with the lead fluoride, some are all chloride ions will be replaced with the fluoride ions. Here phosphonitrophlorides can be not prepared directly. So by using this heavy metal fluorides, we can use heavy metal fluorides to prepare the phosphonitrophlorides. This is very much similar to the preparation of the alkyl fluorides. In the that means this is very much similar to the Schwarz reaction. Schwarz in organic chemistry, it is very much similar to the Schwarz reaction. In Schwarz reaction also, alkyl fluorides are prepared by reacting the other alkyl halides with the heavy metal fluorides. Okay, na? So I write that reaction here once again, because we remember the things very easily whenever we compare with the known things. So look here, for example, we are writing the antimony fluoride. I write once again, right? Alright, plus heavy metal fluoride, that means here antimony pentafluoride. So we get the alkyl fluoride, mainly we get the alkyl fluoride and antimony halides. So alkyl fluorides are prepared by using this Schwarz reaction. So here also the same method is employed to prepare the phosphonitrophlorides, and along with the phosphonitrophloride we get the tetramer also. So that point we have to remember. This is also very easy to balance the reaction. Once we practice, we can easily write this reaction. Now we know very well that nitrogen has the electron pairs on it. So any nitrogenous compound behaves as the Lewis base. In the similar way, these phosphagens also behave as the Lewis base because they have the lone electron pairs on them. As a result, what happens? This trimer reacts with the sulfur dioxide and perchloric acid and forms these salts. We know very well that sulfur dioxide is a non-metal oxide. As a result, it behaves as the acid. So here phosphagens, due to the presence of the nitrogen, behave as the Lewis bases and react with the acids and form salts. Now we discuss about the structure. X-ray diffraction reveals us that trimer and tetramer are cyclic compounds, and by this we can came to know that the PN bond distance is 160 picometers in a trimer and 168 picometers in tetramer. Here in this phosphagens, nitrogen undergoes sp3 hybridization and phosphorus undergoes sp3 dehybridization. And here in between nitrogen and phosphorus, a 5 bond is formed, which is very much similar to the aromatic compounds. We know very well that in aromatic compounds, 5 bonds are there between the carbon atoms, no? But those 5 bonds are p5 bonds. But here we have the p5d5 bonds. Here p orbital of nitrogen combines with the d orbital of the phosphorus atom and forms the p5d5 bonds. Here we have to remember that trimer is a planar compound, planar cycle, whereas the tetramer, pentamer, and hexamer, heptamer are puckered rings. We know very well that benzene is a planar hexagon, but the cyclohexane is not a planar hexagon. No, cyclohexane has the puckered ring structure. In the similar way, here tetramer, pentamer, and hexamers, that means other polymers, even though they are having cyclic structure, they are not planar. They have the puckered ring structure. And we know very well that higher polymers are linear compounds. So only trimer is a planar cycle compound. Other cyclic compounds are puckered rings, and higher polymers have the linear structure. Here, the angle between the two chlorine atoms in trimer is 100 degrees centigrade, and the PN bond distance in trimer is 160 picometers, and PNP bond angle is 120. ClPCl bond angle is 100 degrees centigrade, and PNP bond angle is 120 degrees centigrade. PCl bond distance is 204 picometers. PN bond distance is 160 picometers. And now we move on to the tetramer. In tetramer, PNP bond angle is 117 degrees, and here one more angle we find. That means here we have the two types of angles in the PNPs, that is 117 and 123, and the PNP bond distance is in tetramer is 168 picometers, and the what is that ClPCl bond angle is 105 degrees centigrade in tetramer, and in trimer it is only 100 degrees centigrade. Trimer has a small structure and bond angle is less. So these are the some points we have to remember. Thank you.